So you heard to start your own private label, and now you're not hitting the margins that the online gurus or that latest millionaire who happens to be 10 years old promised you. Well, I'm here to tell you today, really in the next 90 seconds, to see if you have an opportunity with your margins, and if so, how to solve it. So feel free, if you do see an opportunity, watch the rest of the video. If not, feel free to click off. So the first thing you want to do, this is really based on Amazon private labels because we're going to be looking at the Amazon Central Selling Returns Report. So you want to pull up that report. You want to look at three things labeled sellable, defective, and customer damaged. And based on those three, you want to add up all of the units that they're saying are either sellable, defective, customer damaged, and you want to multiply that by your selling price. And this becomes your returns opportunity. So feel free to pause the video. You could calculate that first to figure out whether you want to keep watching or not. But I'll go through and I'll actually discuss each of these as well and what they mean, how to reduce each of them, because altogether, that number that you're going to see is essentially what you're missing out in your margins. So when you multiply all of the sellable, defective, or customer damaged items multiplied by the items that, or the sale price, I should say, you're going to sum up all of that and it's going to become a gap in your sellable area. So I'll dissect each of those. So, little background, my name's Ryan Kelly. I'm a CQIA certified quality assurance engineer. So, I'll show you how each of those numbers get broken down and how to fix them. So, first, I'll talk about sellable. If you see something marked sellable, what that means is that it's returned to Amazon in still a sellable condition. So it more means that the customer either didn't want it, they didn't understand the product correctly, something, but the point is that it comes back and it's still in a sellable position. So this isn't necessarily when you think about margins and that opportunity that you have, that returns gap, these are still sellable. So you could put them back in maybe like a warehouse, it could go to somebody else, whatever it may be, it's still a sellable product. So you're not losing out on margins, you're more losing out on that potential sale. And when we talk about customer damaged or defective units, so that's more on the side of that the customer is shipping that back to Amazon. Amazon is receiving it and it's no longer in that sellable condition. So there are some other items that you'll see in the returns report that mention like courier damage, other things. Those are things that Amazon actually takes responsibility for. If it's damaged in their facilities, they're going to take charge. They're going to say, hey, we messed this one up. We'll refund you the cost of the unit. But for customer damaged and defective, those are ones Amazon is not taking credit for. So, what you need to do in these scenarios is customer damaged means that, or really customer damage and defective basically means that the customer had an issue with it, they gave it back to Amazon and is no longer in a sellable condition. So they're based on what your guidelines are, they might scrap it, they might do something else with it, but it's not going to a customer anymore, so there's really no point of holding on to it in Amazon's eyes. So now that you understand what it means, what do you do? So think about it more in the steps of how do I increase my growth by kind of gaining that margin gap? And also, how do I increase my customer satisfaction? How do I just make sure that when a customer gets my products, it's staying sold? So, the first thing you want to do is you want to look at root cause. You want to figure out why. And this works for sellable, this works for defective, customer damaged, whatever it is, you want to figure out why. So, in sellable, why is the customer returning it? What was the gap in knowledge when they saw your listing to when they received the product? What did they not understand about it? Usually you see this a lot in clothing. So if you think about clothing, like somebody buys a large sweatshirt and normally they wear large clothing, but it comes to them and now they're like, hey, this is a little too large. Hey, this is a little too small. I want to return it, just get a different size. That's fine. You see that a good bit. That's not really an issue. But, you might be able to tell the customer a little more. Maybe you could show more dimensions, something like that, or normally fits your usual large. Maybe you could change your product so that it fits a normal large size, whatever it may be. I usually on this channel talk about pencils, so I'm going to bring that into play too. So if a customer didn't understand the pencil and they thought there was going to be a ruler on the pencil, and they're like, oh, perfect, I really need this to measure an item that I'm in the shop with. So I'm using this a lot, but the ruler is like a couple inches too short. And they're like, I really need it to be a bit longer. This isn't what I was looking for. I'm going to return it. So there are some areas where just the customer is unaware of how the product should perform, how it would perform, and there's just a gap in that knowledge. And how can you decrease it? But basically, what is that root cause? Why are they returning? What are they confused about? That's something you could potentially see in reviews. Ask the customers to why they were unsatisfied with the product, whatever it may be. When it comes to root cause for defective and customer damaged items, like if a customer got the product, they used it for a month, and then it had an issue, they ended up returning it. They're like, hey, I expected this to last way longer. Then you want to figure out why. Amazon is going to take that item back. They're going to basically toss it. As long as you don't tell them to toss it, they're going to toss it. And you want to get that product back. You want to see, hey, why is this defective? Why is this not working? And you want to do an analysis of it. So in quality assurance, we have something called a 5 why analysis. So I'm going to go back to the pencil example. You own a company. It's called Pencils, Pencils, Pencils. And guess what? You sell pencils. And you're getting these poor reviews and these returns, and people are actually saying, hey, there's no lead in my pencil. And they're like, what? So you could do a root cause analysis and say, hey, why is there no lead in my pencil? Because if you just go back to the factory and you say, hey, there's no lead in these pencils, fix it. I mean, yeah, they'll work through it, but you want to have a more in-depth on why and how it's going to fix. So 5 why, you basically start at, why does the pencil not have lead in it? Or why is the pencil not writing? Oh, it doesn't have lead. Okay, why doesn't it have lead? Okay, well, it wasn't put in during the assembly process. It's not like it fell out or anything like that. Okay, why wasn't it put in during the assembly process? Oh, one of the machines wasn't geared right. When it was tooling, it was out of oil, or it wasn't lubricated enough, and it actually jammed, so it missed a couple of pencils in this batch. Okay, why did it jam, or why did we not add that lubricant? And then you're like, oh, well, we didn't have the right maintenance on that side. We don't have routine checkups on our machines. That's how you get to the root cause. You're not saying, hey, we need to, you're not going to your supplier saying, hey, we need to make sure all these have lead in it. You're saying, hey, we need to make sure we have a control plan in place that'll make sure that each of these machines are getting maintenance on them regularly. And that way you're able to backtrack to the root cause, the actual root cause of why that product failed and how you're going to fix it. And not only that, you got to figure out what documentation you're going to have to make sure that they fix it too. If you're on the factory side and you're saying, hey, we're going to add this control plan, we're going to add this checklist to make sure that every day we're doing the proper maintenance on each machine, you're checking off all those boxes, right? Or if you're on just the seller side and you're purchasing from a supplier, you want them to share that documentation with you as well on how they're fixing it and how they're changing this. And you could do 5 why on the sellables as well. Why are they returning it? Because the shirt wasn't the right size. Why is the shirt not the right size? They have a different expectation. Why do they have a different expectation? And you could kind of keep rolling with this too, and you can make sure that you're going to the root cause of these failures. If you're more wondering on the side of, hey, how do I vet this product initially? How do I make sure they already have these processes in place? I'm going to have a video next week talking about how to vet a specific supplier and certain suppliers for your business, for your private label. And go ahead, like and subscribe, check out that video next week. If you just found this information valuable, like and subscribe. If you have specific questions, to comment them down below. I'll make another video in the future on that specific topic. Thank you for your time.